Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killerrodan. And today, I'm gonna be doing some sort of thing for anime, I guess you can say. Because I haven't uploaded anything on my main channel for quite some time. I'm extremely sluggish, I know. Thought I'd do this video because, like I said, it's been a hot minute. And and even though I keep saying that I'll work on that, I'll be more frequent with it, but it can be really sluggish. I know. But like I said, anime is to be more specific. Having the female characters looking a certain way, which a lot of people might think as is promoting a bad image on women. Oh, it's by it's been done by men who's putting was using women as nothing more as sex objects, which of course is not true. Oh, it can be promoted by men who hate women. Oh, they must hate women. They're downgrading women because they hate them. I mean, I'm not going to say that there aren't any sexist men in the industry of animation, anime, or an American or whatever else. I'm not saying that there aren't any because there are, but that doesn't mean it's going to be applied here. This does not mean they're hating women. No, you can look attractive. I mean, okay, attractive might be one thing for one person and another thing for another. You have to keep that in mind. Because everybody have a certain, a lot of people have different forms of attraction. Like, look at the OnlyFans, for example, on YouTube or whatever. And some of these people on OnlyFans on YouTube or whatever might dress up as certain anime characters. If you want to, I guess. Whatever. I mean, these characters aren't even real, mind you. They're fake. They might talk about their anatomy, how some proportions might be bigger than others. And I think you know what I'm getting at here. And yeah, that somehow is discriminating against women. Like have some sort of prejudge, prejudice. Yeah, prejudice against them. How does this mean they're being prejudiced? What? And I mean, yes, there are sexist men who would use these images against women to look a certain way, so that they can get the rocks off. Sure, but that doesn't mean that the industry of anime is hating women. No, I mean, yes, there's a market for this. Sure, there is a market for this kind of a thing. I'm not. There's no denying that. But again, that doesn't mean they're hating women. This in itself doesn't mean that the anime as a whole is going to dislike women just because of it. Just because of it. And those who support this kind of, this kind of a thing, isn't in itself, like hating women, meh, and all that. I mean, of course, there are people who would, pleasure themselves to this kind of a thing, which I'm not going to, condone, whatever works for you, I guess. But still, I mean, it doesn't always have to be, straight up hardcore porn. You can do like softcore porn, something close to softcore, but not quite there. But yeah, this kind of a thing isn't in itself evidence that the entire industry for anime specifically is going to go after women. Kind of show women that are supposed to be submissive, are supposed to be, hating on them and whatnot. No, this is not enough evidence to suggest that women should behave in any kind of way. And I mean, okay, it's sort of suggestive, sure. You can do this in more ways than one. It doesn't necessarily have to be like extremely explicit right away. No, it can be like a little teasing, sure. But yeah, this does not mean that women are being oppressed in anime. I mean, you can make stories about that. Sure, you can make stories in anime about women being oppressed. But even there, that's still not enough evidence that women are being oppressed just because of images like this. I know a lot of people had, complained about anime characters looking a certain way. One thing, I know I've mentioned this before, which I thought was kind of weird, is that it's always the woman. It's always the woman that they complain about, never the man. That's it. I've seen a lot of anime shows, OVAs, anime video games, or anime TV shows that showed, really buff men or really lean men or whatever, looking certain way with the muscles, like Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball or any of incarnation of those characters. Uh, you don't see me saying that, oh, anime is hating on men, nah, and all that jazz, because that's not what they're aiming for. Because when it comes to fighting, lots of like an anime that really emphasizes on fighting, of course you're gonna have to be fit, and that's what I'm getting. It also depends on the kind of anime that you're making. It depends on the context, and that's what I'm trying to attempt to do anyway. If we're gonna watch a show or review a show, review a video game, review a comic, a movie or whatever, a manga, I guess is what you would call it, or whatever else. Always trying to see how well does it paint the picture. Does all the pieces of the puzzle fit? You can look at it as a puzzle. Do all the puzzles fit together? Maybe not always, because making films is hard, of course. So it's not always gonna be exactly perfect. Which it does have which anime movie has the least amount of flaws, and what the more it's flawed, the more it falls apart. The more it fits together, the better it's constructed. You think of it like that. Does it succeed in what it's trying to do? What's the goal here? The who, what, where, when, and why. That's how I would look at it, of course. Just trying to see what they're trying to, go at within this thing they're trying to do, and the story. And what is the ultimate goal here, really? Who are these characters? How are their lives like? You can even do like a slice of life kind of a thing. What? Or maybe you can do some sort of erotica. Yeah, basically a hentai with a story. Yeah, I mean, yes, those hentai that's straight up just sex and nothing else. Personally, I don't like those really, and I mean, not that I would judge anyone for watching them, of course, but I would prefer to something that has a plot, theme, a setting. We can even do a historical kind of a thing if you want. If you want to do that kind of thing, go for it, of course. But yeah, I'm just trying to review things and look at things in the way it's treated. Whether it's a comedy, whether it's even though I prefer it to be more serious, whether it's maybe like I said, a historical thing, a fantasy thing, and whatnot. I mean, yes, okay, sure. I'm not denying the fact that there are women out there in the world who have a low self-esteem, which yes is unfortunate. And yes, there are men out there who are very demanding of women to look a certain specific way. Yeah, that is true. But that doesn't mean that anime itself as a whole is demanding women to look a certain way. This doesn't mean that that's what they're aiming for, of course. So it just seems rather odd that a lot of people would just, get offended by, again, in other words, these fictional characters. I mean, of course, film can be a powerful medium. And of course, even the same thing can be said when it comes to TV shows, because a lot of people do like to watch anime shows. And there's a lot of anime shows. A lot of the popular anime tend to be anime shows. Like, maybe 9 times out of 10, it's usually an anime show that's really popular. It's talked about a lot. And, yeah, like shows like Sailor Moon, Dragon Ball, Naruto, One Piece, Blood Plus, Blood C, Attack on Titan, Pretty Cure, also Princess Tutu, if I'm pronouncing that right, and of course Strike, Witches, of course. Oh yeah, and Gundam Wing and any other version of that, of course. Oh yeah, Galaxy Railways, of course. Yeah, and that's just name a few. Boy, there's a lot of them. And I do mean there's a lot of popular anime shows out there in various genres and whatnot. And yeah, oh yeah, Cowboy Bebop, of course. Let's not forget about that. But yeah, I love the a lot of popular anime stuff that tends to be the TV shows, really. But yeah, So you mean to tell me like literally every single one of these I've just mentioned, plus any others I might have missed? They're also sexist too, just because of this, of some sexy anime character within the show. Yeah, that just seems like a huge assumption right off the bat when you think about it. Of course, it's ridiculous. There's nothing inherently wrong with wanting to have a little sex appeal to the female characters, and it's not downgrading. It doesn't mean they're being prejudiced towards women, and being really judgmental. I guess, in other words. So yeah, come on. Just having a female character that's attractive in an anime, whether it's a show, a movie, a manga, or a movie, or one of those OVAs, that alone isn't enough to assume that it's sexist towards women, a woman hater, having the kind of attitude, the kind of behavior to bring women down, to humiliate them and whatnot. A lot of this time, when people try to criticize a woman, even if the character is again, fictional, again, fictional, it usually comes from like maybe they have low self-esteem, like they don't look at themselves highly, and they when they see this image on screen on their TV or in a magazine or whatever, it's usually that they don't look like that. They don't look that way. And if they have a more positive outlook on life and if they had a body like that, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't act in such a way. It's not the company's fault that somebody has a low self-esteem. I mean, and yes, I know that makes him. I'm sounding like fucked up there. I like I will always say, I don't want nobody to get hurt. I want everybody to live a great, happy life and whatnot. I want everyone to be great and succeed in whatever they're trying to do, like have a great career and whatnot, and have a wonderful life, of course. Have some kids if you want to, have a family if you want to, or maybe get married if you want to and whatnot. Get rich if you like. You know, do what you want. Life is what it is. Life is can only be as extreme as you make it out to be. You do what you want with it. And then a lot of people would ask, okay, what's the purpose of life? But I can't answer that for you. Only you can answer that. It's not a one size fit all kind of a thing. But anyway, I know It seems like I'm going off the deep end here, but it, when you think about it, it was never about the anime girls to begin with. It had nothing to do with anime. It had nothing to do with any of that. Anyway, when you actually think about it, because none of this makes any sense. Oh boy, I keep saying that. Nothing makes sense. So yeah, folks, I just find this kind of thing to be really ridiculous because it did not need it to be done. I know a lot of people really complain about these characters. I mean, this was not the only time. Of course, this was not the only time, obviously. But it's just something I want to bring up since, I haven't spoken anything about it in my main account, my main YouTube channel for that often, really. So, here you go. I'm throwing my 2 cents in here, of course. But yeah, I know some people are out there going to disagree with me. But just because people disagree with me doesn't necessarily doesn't necessarily mean I'm in the wrong. Really, when you think about it. So there's that. So it just seems rather odd that people would just complain about this kind of thing over characters that look a certain way, being blonde or whatever. This doesn't mean they hate women. So yeah, folks, there are some real world problems that need to be taken care of. There are still people out there that still fire women just for being women. You can make your own business if you want to. You can start your mom and pop store if you wish. You can have a female boss. That's great. Women can vote. Women can do a lot more than they can now compared to let's say the 1920s and 1930s. Women can do a lot more than they can compared to back then. Yeah, that's great. That's a good thing there. And women started a movement back in the 60s and 70s so they can vote and whatnot and sexually express themselves. and whatnot. Even if he may not be in the traditional heterosexual kind of way, and that's fine. You can do more things nowadays, be more expressive sexually compared to a certain period of time in America. That's what counts for something. Yeah, whatever. As always, thanks for watching and take care.